neighbors. Welcome to the Music Festivals podcast. This is the show that helps you get to know music festivals, festival venues, and campgrounds before you go. I'm your host, Neighbor Nate, and I'm glad you're in the neighborhood. Welcome back, neighbors, to episode number 69 of the Music Festivals podcast. This is the show that helps you get to know music festivals, festival venues, and campgrounds before you go. And as always, I'm your host, Neighbor Nate, and we have a hell of a show today. My guest is someone who I had a chance to see play for the first time last year, live at least. He's an incredible guitarist, vocalist, songwriter, and producer, and he just might know a few Grateful Dead tunes if you ask him. We'll be talking with Tom Hamilton of JRAD about some very special past performances, his new album, I'm Your Vampire, and how he'll be going down the road with a new show on SiriusXM. But before we get into the show, I want to recognize and send out a big thank you to our presenting sponsors, DLaw Coffee, Whippersnap Music and Arts Festival, Florida Sand Music Ranch, and the McLean Foundation for supporting us here at Music Festivals Podcast. Without these supporting neighbors, the crazy traveling circus that we're on would not be possible. And I think these partners get it. They see how live streams and shorts and archives of all the videos of this music and experience have become kind of the go-to platform for people who are really paying attention to music festivals today. I mean, let's face it, not everybody can attend every music festival. There's money involved, there's travel involved, and so that's how the live streams come in. If your brand is looking to build real awareness with music festival audiences nationwide, we're ready to be on the ground at 25 plus festivals, and there's more on the way. Go ahead and get in touch with us. You can head on over to musicfestivalspodcast.com/contact to see where we'll be in 2026 and reserve your sponsorship.
Hey y'all, it's Jury from DLaw Coffee Company.
Let's take it from the beginning. Hi, my name is Jury Anderson, and I'm a 21-year-old musician from Alabama. Music has always been a part of me, and I'm super lucky to be traveling around touring with my best friends. Whether it's playing music or putting together something for my friends, I've always been passionate about the power of a shared experience. As some of you know, touring around the country involves a lot, and to me, good coffee is essential to staying fueled while on the road. After consulting with friends in the business, I decided to give it a go. My goal is simple: get coffee to people all over who need it the most. So whether you play music, love music, or your passion lies somewhere else, DLaw Coffee is here for you. Fuel the music.
Welcome back, neighbors. So my first time seeing Tom Hamilton play live was during this past summer's trip to Columbia, Maryland with my hookah crew. If you remember last year's tour of the All Good Presents Trifesta series of festivals, that included the refreshed All Good Now, and that was the second stop of the 3 AGN branded festivals that took place over 3 consecutive months. It's crazy how these folks pull that off. It was truly an amazing trip and one that I'll always remember. And I do want to give a big shout out to all of you who are a part of that summer adventure. You know who you are. Thanks for all the happy memories. It was a hell of a lot of fun. But let's take a quick look and go back to last summer and check out a clip from JRAD's show at the All Good Now 2026 at Merriweather Post Pavilion. I totally want to send out a hat tip to Gregory M for his footage of that show. You can find his YouTube channel at Live Music Lover on YouTube. And there's even some fish videos there that I think you're going to think is cool. So go ahead and look for that on YouTube and look for the description links so you can get there easily. But yeah, so after that show, the entire experience last summer, it seemed like the right place to start my conversation with Tom.
Yeah, it's JRAD's. It's a well-oiled machine at this point. We kind of just, we go out, we do what we can with that material, and then we go our separate ways and work on original music. That place is awesome. I played there before the renovation in, I think it was like 15 or something like that. There was an event called Dear Jerry that was Garcia's, like some kind of, tribute to Jerry, to the big guy there. And it was fucking awesome then, and then they did this renovation, and it's, it's like a resort back there now. It's really beautiful, and they did a great job. Yeah, man, playing those big places, it's cool. It's a different thing, it's interesting, over the arc of a career, playing the clubs, which I still play. I love, I love being in those small rooms where everybody's right there, and then you get to, these bigger sheds and stuff and Red Rocks and stuff like that, where, the audience kind of becomes one big, person, kind of, when it's that many people and there's that much distance, between the stage and them, it's a different thing, it's all fucking cool, man. It's interesting. It's just interesting. Everything informs everything else, and it's, you play a place that, places that are different sizes and different, audio treatment and stuff, stages sound different and all that shit, and it all informs the concert, which is fun. It forces us to play differently, and we don't use like in-ear monitors and stuff like that, so like we really get to embrace the differences of places, playing a place like Merriweather, and at that time with what was going on in DC, and it was all just like one. It was just cool the way it all works out.
Until Tom mentioned it, I had completely forgotten that during that festival run at Merriweather, there was also major No Kings protests taking place down the road in Washington, D.C. And that was also during the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary military parade, which featured tanks and flyovers, and then ended with the Orange Guy's 79th birthday party. But for like the 10,000 of us that were at the festival that day, none of it really mattered, at least for a few hours. We were kind of basking in the warm glow of the music festival bubble, which thrives on music and rhythm and community and neighbors being neighbors, right? My good friend, Joe McDame, he's part of the hookah crowd. He was there with us at that festival. He's like the quintessential example of how that works at a festival. He tends to be the kind of guy who gives hugs and says, "I love you" to random strangers. And he never really runs out of them, and has this uncanny ability to recognize when somebody's having a rough day and then find a way to be a comfort to them. I've seen him do it. And don't get me wrong, the whole festival was amazing. Tom and JRAD, as well as Goose and Disco Biscuits and Daniel Donato's Cosmic Country, Molly Tuttle, all amazing. Everybody performed great shows. But what I took away from All Good Now last year was this idea of the protection of the music festival bubble, and Joe's endless examples of really unnecessary kindness that I think help drive how the bubble stays magical, and why people enjoy the context of a music festival, the vibe, if you will. For that reason, and for Joe, I'm forever grateful, man. Love you, brother. But enough of my sappy shit. When we come back, and we'll get right back to more from Tom Hamilton, I think he's got some really interesting things you're going to hear, so don't go away. And welcome back, neighbors. We're jumping back into our conversation with Tom Hamilton. One of the very first times, if not the first time I saw him play was via a live stream on nugs.net, and that was from my garage back in May of 2021. The collaboration that was on Nugs was actually a reunion of Billy and the Kids, and it's a project featuring Bill Kreutzmann from the Grateful Dead, Tom Hamilton, Aaron Megner, and Reed Mathis. And then they had a special live stream series called Grateful Mahalo. So that's what I was watching. And that was celebrating Kreutzmann's 75th birthday. And guests even included Billy Strings, Carlos Santana, and sax virtuoso James Casey.
This house like on that was like right on the beach.
Okay.
And somebody said it was Stallone's house actually, which is fucking hilarious. But yeah, so we rented this big fucking place and it had this incredibly lush lawn that went right up to the beach, you know, and like it like went up to a tree line, and then like on the other side of the tree line is sand, you know, and then the ocean. And you know, and yeah, so then you have something like that, which is just fucking a whole janky weird thing, you know, like we're just standing on grass on someone's lawn playing, and you know there wasn't really a crowd for that, right? You know, like we were all kind of facing each other, and you know there was crew and there were some friends of the Kreutzmanns there, and you know once word got out, there were people that kind of climbed the trees and were hiding up in the trees watching, you know, so there was a little bit of a crowd that you can kind of, you know, feed off of a little bit, but you know that informs your playing. It's like, it's a different thing, you know, and and that was super fucking cool, you know, getting to do that. And we did those, I think it was 3 of them. And it was like the first, we were like in rehearsal, I think, or maybe it was after the first day of the first show. And like, you know, Bill was just like, yeah, Santana lives around here. I feel like maybe we should see if he's around. We're like, yeah, man, fucking definitely see if Santana wants to come hang out, you know. And he did, which was really nice, you know. And he was, what a fucking cool guy. And you know, he just came in, he was just a dude, you know, came out and hung with us, and you know, and made that, you know, an even more special thing. And you know, and yeah, it was that was a really, really fun time.
Yeah. So as you can see, a lot of talented musicians. One of the talented musicians from that run sadly lost a battle with cancer not long after the shows. James Casey was known for his stellar work with Trey Anastasio Band, Soul Live, Lettuce, and many others, including Grateful Mahalo. He died on August 28th, 2023, at the age of 40 after a 2-year battle with colon cancer. What's absolutely worth mentioning here, too, is that James continued performing and advocating for early cancer screening during his illness and up until his death. I do remember seeing some of those Facebook posts. And the first time I had ever learned about James was during Grateful Mahalo. He was a fantastic musician. But Tom got to play with him there, and he had a lot to say about his own experiences playing music with James.
Dude, he was the truth, man. You know, it just flowed through him, you know. Yeah. You know, I haven't thought about it in a while, you know, but it's it was always very cool in you know, in the jams, you know. I mean, you know, he came from a different place, you know, than musically than myself, and yeah, I mean, we all come from our different places, you know. And it was his, you know, he just had the fucking biggest ears, you know. He heard everything that happened, you know. And we would, you know, we'd get into these things where we're kind of like just batting it back and forth, and you know, we'd both kind of side eye and link up and like, you know, give that like, oh yeah, I heard that, dude, you know, I heard that. And like, you know, and you know, yeah, man, I mean, he was just a fucking cool guy, man, and was down, you know. I mean, like, that's really kind of all I look for, you know, as somebody who's, you know, down for the adventure, and not just saying it, you know, like, oh yeah, let's go, you know, just speaking in these hyperbolic things, and then you get up there and it's just like fucking bullshit. You know, it's like James, he was the truth, man. You know, he fucking, you know, he knew how to chase it, he knew how to follow it, you know, and he knew how to create some shit out of nothing.
From there, Tom and I shifted into the present and started talking about his new album, I'm Your Vampire. This record, I think, marks, or it seems to mark, a big moment for him. It's Tom's first solo LP released under his own name, and it was out on January 3rd via AWOL and Relics. But here's what he had to say about how that all came together.
Dude, yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's, you know, it's a cool, heavy record, you know, and heavy, I mean, you know, musically and emotionally, you know, it's you know, I get into it in there for sure. You know, yeah, man, I've been working on started working on it a few years back, and kind of really just took my time, you know, crafting this thing and recording it. I have a studio here in Philadelphia, which is where we're at now, and so we did a lot of the heavy lifting here. And I worked with a brilliant producer named Alex Farr, who is based in Asheville, North Carolina. And, you know, I went down there for about 10 days in the middle of all of this, and did some work down there with him as well. We cut a couple songs there, and, you know, it was a really cool process, that I didn't, I let the creativity dictate the whole thing, you know. Decisions weren't made on by anything other than, you know, what is the best thing for this group of songs, you know. And it was, you know, I think it, you know, I think it's the best thing I've ever made. I'm really proud of it. I think it's a very cool record, and yeah, I'm stoked for people to fucking hear it, man.
It seemed like a lot of this material came together over the past few years during a period of when Tom has been in reflection. And that's what made this moment feel different to me when I was talking with him. So I wanted to dig into why, what shifted creatively, what needed to be said. And I asked him, what song on I'm Your Vampire has the most meaning for you?
Oh, man. You know, the last song on there, it's a song called It's Been a Long Time Coming. You know, when I started working on this record, my dad got sick, and, you know, it was a long, tough, you know, you know, cancer is a tough thing to watch anybody deal with, especially when it doesn't go the way you want it to. So, you know, yeah, that last tune is a real, you know, that's probably the heaviest and the most poignant for my life, you know.
So I think it's well known that music, whether you're writing it, playing it, or even just listening to it, jamming to it, can be deeply personal and a journey of reflection. It is for me, and I know it is for a lot of people, and I think it is for Tom. But what really stood out to me with Tom is how intentionally he's leaned into that process as it relates to life, growth, personal change, and how clearly that makes its way into his work. I find that fascinating.
I think music and art should be something that, you know, helps us understand what it means to be a fucking human, man. You know, the human condition, you know, the day to day. And, you know, at its best, it makes us feel not alone, you know, and helps us understand things about maybe ourselves or other people or whatever, you know. So, you know, I just tried to make something that was really honest. And, you know, I just tried to come from, you know, my perspective of the world, and just say what I have to say, and hope, you know, well, you know, I hope that, you know, it resonates, you know, with anybody, and, you know, could get somebody through another day or another hour or whatever it is that they need, you know. and selfishly, you know, it's like, I made this record, and all the albums I make, you know, I'm trying to figure out who I am. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, you know,
That's
we
interesting, yeah.
well, you know, man, it's like it's an interesting thing sometimes when you look at how shit works in a life, you know, where you kind of define who you are and what it is that you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
What your lot is in this world, and then we just, that's just it, you know, and that's, you know, well, that's just what you're going to do and who you'll be until you die. And it's like, no, man, that's not it at all. You know, I mean, we're supposed to grow, and we're supposed to change. We're supposed to, you know, adapt. And, you know, I'm not the same Tom Hamilton I was when I was 25 or 35, you know, and, you know, it's not easy. It's not easy to get older. It's not easy to go through life and to lose loved ones, or to lose friends, or to gain shit. You know, if you find love, you find happiness, whatever it is. You know, these are all different chapters, for lack of a better fucking word there. And they should, you know, all be it should all be spoken about, and allow yourself the grace to grow, and to, you know, molt out of this version of yourself into the next, you know, and get better at being a person.
I wasn't really expecting that story. Yes, cancer is a very tough thing. And one of those realities that touches nearly all of us, whether it's witnessing the struggle of family and friends, my mom's a cancer survivor, experiencing loss, facing maybe potentially your own diagnosis, and the fight that's going to ensue after that. It wasn't my intention to make this a central theme of this episode. Like, I really didn't go into it with that. But for whatever reason, that's where the conversation led. So I'm going to go with it. So please take this from it, I think. If you have a family history, please stay on top of your screenings, pay attention to changes in your body, ask questions, don't put off checkups. Just do the small preventative things that you can to at least get early awareness. And I think that makes a big difference, you know, in how people can beat cancer. Tom also went further, drawing a lot of connections between his experience with musical improvisation, as well as how that helped shape his perspective after the loss of his father to the disease. And I think it's a really good lesson for all of his neighbors.
You know, I think learning to improvise as a young guy helped with that aspect of life, you know, where, you know, you have to, you know, when you're improvising with other people, you don't get to dictate the situation. You know, you have to take whatever it is that gets thrown at you, and you have to make it something. And learning that makes it, you can apply that to life. It's such a one-to-one thing, you know. It's like, oh right, yeah, of course, life just is gonna fucking happen whether you wanted it to or not. And you don't get to say, no, that's not what I want to happen. You know, my fucking old man's dead, bro. I wasn't like, oh yeah, that's a good route, let's go that way. It's like, no, that's what fucking life gave to me. And, you know, it's like, well, what are you gonna make with this, man? You know, and you have to do it and move forward and keep going, you know.
So we wrapped up our conversation by talking about Tom's new podcast, Going Down the Road with Tom Hamilton. This is a new monthly show on SiriusXM's Grateful Dead channel, and that airs on channel 23. And it's another place where Tom's deep connection to this music really comes through. The debut episode dropped December 15th, so you can go back and watch that. It had Chris Thompson on it. And the January episode is going to feature Don Was. That may be out by the time of this recording. So definitely check that out. But here's Tom on how that all came about and what you can kind of expect from the show.
Dude, honestly, it was very casual. You know, I did a spot, a guest spot on some show on the Grateful Dead channel on Sirius a couple years back. And my manager at the time, my manager, my manager, but at the time we were new we were still kind of like getting to know each other, and he was still like understanding what it is that I do and who I am and all that shit. So I did this thing, this spot on something on there, and when I got done, he was like, "Hey man," he's like, "Dude, you're pretty good at that. Like you have a good personality for that, and whatever." And he's like, "Would you ever want to do a radio show?" And that's nothing. I never thought to do that. I was like, dude, whatever, man. You're like, sure. Like if somebody was fucking silly enough to give me a show, I would do it, but it's not something I would ever be like, going after, and then like a year later, like I guess probably like 8 months ago or 6 months ago, he was just like, "Hey man, I got that fucking radio show." And I was just like, "Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fucking that's cool." And I got to figure out what that means, So that that's been an interesting learning curve. Because I've never really done anything like this. But I mean, I certainly love to talk shit and hang out with people, which is pretty much just what my show is. So it's so far so good. I'm excited about it, and I feel lucky. Bob Weir just passed. And it was nice. With him passing, we kind of had to pivot on what this month's episode was going to be. And so, I loved Bob, man. He was, he was a great guy, and he meant a lot to me. And, he did so much for my career and for my life. And, and to be able to have a platform that I could, memorialize him and do something for his memory, feels really nice, basically able, like, this month's episode is just going to be basically a wake. I got a couple of our mutual friends, and just had them, tell a couple stories about the old man, and it's, I feel very lucky that I'm able to do that, and that I have the platform to do that. And, for me, to deal with the grief, and for my friends and for the public, it's a way to be a part of the community and to help everybody out.
But that is all we have for this week, neighbors. It was really interesting going deep with Tom. He's a very thoughtful guy. Make sure to check out his latest projects, including the upcoming shows and tour dates for I'm Your Vampire, the new SiriusXM radio show, as well as plenty of other good stuff. You can find all those links in the description. We'll try to load some cool stuff in there for you. And thanks again to Tom for his openness and honesty and really thoughtful perspectives. It's always a treat when you get to go, even a little bit deeper than just the music and how the music connects to really everything else in life. Really enjoyed that conversation. Make sure to visit musicfestivalspodcast.com and subscribe to the Neighborhood email newsletter. We have live stream announcements for 2026 and the tour is building, festival news and updates, festival documentary announcements, as well as subscriber events coming to a festival near you. We're very excited about those. Next week, we are getting ready for Whippersnap 2026 down here at the Florida Sand Music Ranch, and I am absolutely stoked to once again have the chance to see a band that has absolutely made it into my everyday playlist. They're so good. We'll be talking Jamtronica with Adonis Guava Frangiskakis from the band Guavatron. So you're going to want to make sure to tune in for that conversation next Friday. And make sure to come and check out Whippersnap Music and Arts Festival from February 18th through the 21st. And that's down here again at the Florida Sand Music Ranch. It's going to be a good one. I was just walking around with Shane yesterday talking about the lighting. Yeah, don't miss it. Seriously, it's going to be. If you are listening to the audio podcast, thank you very much. Please rate the show while you are there on Spotify or Apple, and then head on over to YouTube and subscribe there to make sure that you get all the videos, including the festival documentaries. However, I'm very interested to hear if anybody's watching videos on Spotify podcasts. This is a thing that is starting to pick up there. So if you are watching these videos on Spotify, leave comments there. Let us know, because it takes effort to put stuff out there, but we definitely want to get it to you if that's where you prefer to take in Music Festivals podcast. You can join the conversation on all the different socials, in the YouTube comments, on the Music Festivals podcast Facebook page, or you can find me on Instagram at NeighborNateFests or at Nate Riggs. You all know that by this time. Before we go, a huge thank you to all of our presenting sponsors, DLaw Coffee Company, Whippersnap Music and Arts Festival, Florida Sound Music Ranch, and the Will McLean Foundation for supporting us here at Music Festivals Podcast. Please support them as well. As always, I'm your host, Neighbor Nate, and I hope to be your neighbor at a festival soon. Maybe it will be in the media tent next week down here at the Florida Sand Music Ranch for Whippersnap.